Hello and welcome to Warframe. My name's Todd, also known as Magi Mech, and this is of course Warframe. Last time we left off, starting up the Natah quest line and kind of learned a little bit about some interesting stuff going on the planet Uranus. So there's lots of things to talk about this week. Lots of things happened. Major thing being is I really need to get rid of all the snow and decoration. Anyway, it is Valentine's time at the time of the recording of this video. It's also a couple of things are happening currently, and there's some events coming up in the future that I did want to make everybody aware of that aren't in your news. They are, of course, in your Steam news if you've been keeping up with your Steam news. But the major one being is that currently it is Valentine's Day time, and we can go into our market, and every time a holiday happens, of course, I've stated it previously, but you should always come and check out kind of what Warframe has to offer, because a lot of times they'll offer things that you wouldn't be able to get at other times. The big one being for Valentine's Day, there's lots of weapons on sale. I wouldn't bother with any of those really, but there's some cool items like arrows or arrow skins, which you can buy a single one for 5,000 credits. Note, you can put this on a bow and your arrows will effectively look like the picture there, but it's a single-use item, so just be aware of that. You can also buy ornaments for your orbiter. You can buy these little heart ornaments, which pretty much you can set them in your orbiter, and they're a nice little decoration. You can also buy a color palette for Valentine's Day, so this is a really nice thing to get. I really like the reds in Valentine, so we're going to pick that up. It's only 1 credit. That's pretty much the one thing I always suggest you look out for every time holiday rolls around is color palettes, because you can definitely get some even though you're a newer player. You may not have access to the platinum. You need to buy them, you can still get them that way. Other things to look out for is there was some talk of some bundles that were released with Steam currently, which are like gear bundles, which you can purchase, of course, from the Warframe DLC page, I believe is what it is. But they've effectively talked about them in Steam news, so if you play Warframe through Steam on the PC, you can check those out. They're pretty cool. There's like a Tigris skin, I believe, is the major thing that they're selling at this moment. I really worry about buying the most expensive one if you're newer to the game. Though if you do want to make sure you get the item that is kind of rare, make sure you pick up like the least expensive one. Those skins in the DLC bundles that they sell, you can only get them really once. They don't really typically come back. So that is something to note. If you're a PC player and you want to get a very rare skin that you'll probably never see again, I'd buy at least the least expensive bundle there. There's also some events that will be coming up in the future. Of course, currently we've got Gift of the Lotus going on for this weekend. Specifically, Friday today, there's some Gift of the Lotus going on, plus Katir has arrived. After the recording, I will be doing the Gift of the Lotus on Earth to pick up that Oregon Catalyst blueprint and building that. But I'll be doing that afterwards. Don't really see any reason to record that. You've pretty much seen him before. Plus, it's just an Earth mission. In the future, some of the Gift of the Lotus rewards will be specialized. They're having a kind of event going on for the 6th anniversary of Warframe, I believe it was. I'll have to change or maybe re-update that if I'm wrong there next time. But effectively, they're going to have Gift of the Lotus on, I think it's February 15th, and forward for the next 2 weekends after that, which will be a special relics, which will have Saren Prime, Spira Prime, and Nikana Prime, which are all vaulted currently. So you'll be able to get relics for those items, which hopefully will get you some cool Prime weapons and Prime Warframe if you're looking to get those. But that pretty much covers all the different events. Boy, that was a long one this time around, so we're just going to jump straight into Natah. We need to finish that off before we really worry about anything else. So we'll go ahead and do that. We'll mostly be doing Natah this time around. Don't see really anything else that we need to worry about, I don't think. So that'll be our main focus. I don't think there's too much left of Natah either, so hopefully it won't take too long. skip that.
A focused blast could release the magma flows beneath and rebury the tomb. Protect the bomb during its lengthy arming process.
So it's a basic defense mission, this one. Shouldn't be too difficult for us, so gotta hack open a door though. With this quest, they did start doing different things that you wouldn't see usually in missions, like doors that you have to hack open to get to a defense objective. But that's just how it goes. Oh, this is the submersible function of your arc wing that I was talking about previously. Whoa, that was really sensitive there. Effectively, it works just the same way you'd have for your arc wing. You can boost, but you're very slow underneath the water, which is kind of annoying. So just be aware of that. These zones are kind of interesting. You do have, of course, your arc wing weapons when you're underneath the water, so that's kind of a nice thing to have. Sensitivity feels a little bit high here. I'm not sure why, but yeah. So that's the submersible function. Every time you jump into water, you pretty much get your arc wing like that. And there we go. Back on land we are. Camera kind of bugged out there. I think that might have been due to sensitivity though. So, oh. Look at how bad I am at hacking. All right, let's go. I don't remember this being very difficult, and I don't think it is very difficult. So we're just going to go at it. Effectively protecting the defense objective as you would in any other defense. Uranus defense is a little bit different though. There are different areas which we'll have to protect, and hopefully, if I'm not wrong, we'll probably swap objective every, I think, 5 waves, if I'm not wrong. I'm not positive on that though. We only have to do 10 to succeed, so should be able to do that relatively easily. I don't imagine we'll have any problems. We did have the introduction of red text though. We got a hotfix incoming. Let's see, what does that say? A wee little hotfix to add to the fissure finders, enemy spawnings and wall slots. Okay, so red text is stating that we will be getting a hotfix here in 3 minutes. Might have to cut this episode short if we have any problems with our missions here. Hopefully we won't. I don't think we'll be with any problems. Oh, so we finished that wave. Actually, we're gonna move right away. I thought we only transferred after like a couple waves, but I guess it's every wave will move location. So on Uranus, of course, you just want to make sure you stay near the yellow waypoint, which is your defense objective, because that will change. Okay. So red text, of course, is a kind of like a chat channel specifically for announcing updates to the game. If you've seen it before, you know kind of what it is. People make jokes about it all the time. And the red text itself sometimes makes jokes. So, nice to see that D's got a little bit of humor about things. We've only got 9 waves left, and I don't think we're going to have any real problems. We're not really having any problems as of this moment. Doesn't really get too much harder than this, I don't believe. Might run into some things like a Noxar Bombard, but that would be about it.
Destroy this tomb? Destroy our history? Vandals!
Those who pilfer meat from lions are either foolish or starving. Which are you, Regor?
So, sometimes red text can cause problems if you're in a mission while an update is happening, but I don't think we're going to have any problems with that, as it's just a minor hotfix. Major updates, of course, in between missions you'll want to exit out of the game and come back in to allow for the game to update properly. I don't think we'll have any problems with our quest here, as it doesn't really specifically talk about that. And Natah is, at this point, kind of an older quest. I don't think they're going to really have to do any updates to fix any parts of it. I wouldn't imagine. So I think we're okay for doing what we need to do. So effectively, Uranus can be a little bit difficult if you're not used to moving around for your defense objectives. Let's see. Even the red text was referencing the Valentine's Day items. So you can definitely note that they're available and here for you. I might decide to change around our red coloring for some of the reds in the Valentine's Day pack. They might be a little bit better. But I'll have to check that out in between episodes. Probably do that after we finish, but before we do the Gift of the Lotus stuff that I'll be doing in between parts. Alright. So that's pretty much just shoot all the dudes. Not too difficult if you've got any sort of weapon that can take down enemies pretty much at all. As long as you're not having trouble killing the enemies in this mission, you should be perfectly fine. It doesn't really send a whole lot after you. And I don't really think you need any major assistance. Something simple like this.
Natah, why did you betray me? Why did you not finish the sequence you started? Why did you stop at the last?
What is it talking about, Lotus?
That is definitely a good question. What is this mysterious voice talking about? And how did the Lotus betray it, so to speak? After all, she's been directing us to do certain things for her. If she was truly a betrayer, that would be bad for us, wouldn't it? I don't think we'll have any massive revelations here, but if you understand kind of a little bit more about Warframe, you know what the Lotus's purpose was when it came to the Tenno, what she was supposed to do, but did not do. You do also know, or should also note, that the Sentients, of course, are definitely an enemy of the Tenno. Okay, so the hotfix, you can see the red text has stated that it has been deployed. We can restart at our convenience. If we leave this mission, of course, it will begin the restart process, which I think you only have about 15 minutes before it will automatically restart you. So I don't think there's any other parts to Natah, if I remember correctly, after this one, but I could be wrong about that. We'll try and get that last part done if there are any other parts, but aside from that, I think we'll cut it short. I don't see any reason to drag it on for this one. If we're done with Natah, that kind of is a good place to stop for the moment. Next time we'll do more on Uranus and kind of hopefully complete that junction, if we're able. Give me a lot of time to do things in between, which, with the Gift of the Lotus stuff and some other stuff I was planning on doing, rearranging mods and whatnot, we'll be able to hopefully get things in order again and ready for next time. Nope, out of ammo. Our sniper is out of ammo. Should be noted, of course, that with a sniper rifle, you do have a limited amount of ammo compared to other weapons. The sniper ammo, of course, is the large pink ammo boxes, or large purplish ammo boxes, however you choose to refer to them. I refer to them kind of as pink, just because to me they look more pink than anything else. They are the least likely ammo box to drop from enemies, so that is something to note if you're worried about ammo conservation. Most of the time, ammo conservation.
We crossed the gap, wounds and ruin to bring an end to this. We severed worlds. Let them destroy me. Why is the sequence not complete?
Most intriguing, Lotus. Do you two have a history?
They do indeed have a history, as I stated previously. But as I was stating for the sniper rifle, it should be noted that when you're deciding on a weapon, you do want to take into note that sniper rifles do have problems with ammo conservation sometimes. But usually it's not that much of an issue. We just seem to be kind of in a drought here. You can, of course, change out your mods for certain mods that help boost ammo capacity, and the Sentinel carrier also helps with that. But I don't think we're going to have any major issues. We do have our Vasto and our Galantine, which is just fine for taking out these basic Grineer. Especially thanks to an upgraded Fury. Man, that helps a lot. Fury is definitely a mod that I've pretty much put on every single of my weapons, aside from its alternative, which is Berserker. If you have a Berserker mod, that's just about as good as a Fury. Downside to those mods will be explained if I can get my hands on a Berserker. Otherwise, I'll kind of explain more about mods and builds when we kind of near the end of the game.
My own daughter, the last of my womb. How can you do this?
Lotus, what are you not telling us?
Focus, Tesha. We need focus.
Daughter. Interesting term, of course, to use for Lotus, but it is not incorrect. So it's a bit of foreshadowing, of course. And Teshin is rightfully confused. Hopefully I'll be able to explain at some point when we start doing the second dream more about this. I think that's when a lot of the revelations kind of come to pass. But for now, it's just a lot of foreboding. Natah was definitely the very start of storytelling in Warframe, so there's a lot to kind of go over before you actually get to the in-depth and nitty-gritty of the whole situation. Truly understand more about the Tenno and Lotus and how they're connected. Alright, so one thing you might notice about the Vasto, of course, is when I was using it earlier, I was kind of just spamming it, which definitely caused a lot of kick up, or recoil to happen. And one way you can, of course, prevent that and help yourself greatly with weapons like Vasto or any other weapon in Warframe that has recoil is just pace yourself. That helps with both your ammo economy and your capability to kill enemies quicker. Having a good trigger discipline is critical in Warframe. It really does help to not just spam the fire key, because a precise shot in Warframe is much more useful than a spam shot, as a headshot does, I believe, double the damage. So a single headshot can almost kill a Grineer, whereas imprecise shots that are all over the place won't do anywhere near as much damage. Even while modded, certain weapons do horrible if you don't focus on those headshots. But there are weapons that you can just kind of spray and pray with. Mostly full auto weapons are kind of designed like that, but full auto weapons are also typically designed with far less recoil. Single shot weapons tend to have far more recoil in Warframe, and it's pretty much critical that you practice your trigger discipline when you're using them. The greatest example I can think of this, of course, is the Lex secondary. You use the Lex pistols. You know what I'm talking about. They have really, really horrible recoil. But they do a massive amount of damage, so if you land headshots consistently, they can really tear your enemies apart. I prefer the Vasto compared to the Lex just because you can kind of spam them, and if you control your recoil effectively, you can really hit those headshots just fine, even with the fire rate going off. You can kind of see there I'm controlling the recoil by moving downwards, and it's fairly easy to control the recoil of the Vasto. Certain weapons, of course, have nearly no recoil, such as basic sniper rifle like the Vectis that we've got. It has not a whole lot of recoil, and I think it's mostly like side recoil, if I'm not mistaken. Kind of diagonal, the recoil on the Vectis.
You betrayed us. As I awake, so will they. They will say you are Riven and want to reclaim you. I will not be able to stop them.
So, if you are having problems with the weapon in Warframe, especially when it comes to like recoil and things like that, you can, of course, mod to fix that, but most experienced players will tell you that that is pretty much a waste of time, as any good Warframe build typically relies mostly on building for damage, status, and critical chance. Sacrificing a mod slot for something like recoil reduction is usually kind of the death of a weapon. A lot of times it will not function anywhere near as effectively if you do something like that as other weapons, so it is something to note. However, play around with it, decide for yourself kind of what you feel comfortable with. I know that there are some builds that kind of focus on recoil reduction or magazine size, and I think those builds are just fine. I don't see any reason to not use them if it's kind of what you feel most comfortable with and you really like a weapon. It just is one of those min-max or minimum-maximum sort of things that really you want to get as much damage and potential out of a weapon as you're able to, as there are so many different weapons in Warframe that you can choose from. Choosing one that doesn't have very good potential to begin with kind of limits yourself more than anyone else. Effectively, using a weapon that you can't really control very well, you're going to be at a disadvantage for very little reason. So that's kind of a point when people kind of recognize that a weapon is kind of good or bad, is if it has the potential to be good without those sort of convenience mods.
The bomb is armed. I'm pulling you out.
I kind of talked over the Lotus there for a second, but hopefully you heard what she said. Nope.
Natah, Lotus, you cannot hide this past any longer.
There are gaps. I had my mission, and I have completed it. All but the last sequence.
To destroy the Tenno.
The war was over, so I hid them away. In the second dream, I could not destroy them.
And yet, you were born to. So tell me, what made you stop to reject your nature?
All missions to the Origin system required a sacrifice. Me and my kind become barren when crossing the gap. It is the one flaw we never overcame.
Natah wanted children of her own.
Natah was the daughter, until I destroyed her. Now, I am the Lotus. Now I am the mother.
Alright, so there's a lot of information there, of course, from Teshin and the Lotus. Let's see. Can we finish Seal the Tomb? I think we are kind of done with Natah, if I'm not mistaken. Can't enter missions, of course, because of the update. Very unfortunate that it happened right then and there, but that's just kind of how it goes. You can see we'll be logged out automatically in 15 minutes. I'm going to, of course, restart my game here as I finish the recording. I will restart the recording as I log back in to make sure that if there's any other information, we can get that, and I'll put that kind of at the end of the episode right after this. But pretty much I'm going to end the episode there. and say goodbye until next time, where we will hopefully unlock the next junction. So, until then, goodbye.
Operator, you have returned.
Tenno, you seal my tomb. You kill my two men. Not acceptable behavior. Our differences need to be settled. So, you know where I am. Come, get me. Just try.
Tenno, you know where Till is. When you are ready, destroy him.